Like when
No, I should. I wanted to take them jet skiing. That was my thing. I'm like, dude, let's go jet skiing this time. I'll join you guys. It'll be a blast. And Colin was uncomfortable with it. It was in the fall, so it was like one of the last weeks or two. It just didn't work out. But this spring we'll do it. We'll go jet skiing. That'll be the thing I join in on.
jet skiing rocks. I haven't done it since I was maybe 12, but I remember the absolute freedom, because I guess that was the first and only time that my dad's friend we were at the Ozarks with felt comfortable enough with like me riding his jet ski around on the lake by myself, and the freedom, the feeling of like, oh my God, wind whipping through my hair. I'm probably going fucking 35 miles an hour, but it feels like, the Millennium Falcon.
It's fun, man. I had a jet ski as a teenager. I lived 2 blocks from the ocean, and I was not strong enough to like drag that thing to the water, but I did it anyway. Sometimes it'd take like 40-50 minutes just pulling it like 6 inches at a time across the sand to get it into the water. And I was a terrible mechanic. I was just learning, and almost every jet ski session ended with me like holding the jet ski and swimming it in with my other hand. That was like typical. And I look back and I'm like, my parents fucking ballsy, really. Like, Woody, just go out jet skiing, whatever, try to get home by dinner, which I never did. And I would always like have like a half sunken jet ski that I swam back.
Were you ever panicking in the moment where you're like, it's actually going to sink this time and I'm going to be in so much trouble?
They don't sink. Even when the tail of it floats, so the engine sinks and the tail floats and you pull it back in. But I didn't panic, but there was one time we were in the inlet. So people don't know, there's 2 islands out in the ocean, right? And then behind them is the bay. And when the tide goes up, all the water flows into the bay. And when the tide goes down, all the water flows out to the ocean between the 2 islands. This water was moving like no human could swim as fast as this water was going. And my jet ski didn't work reliably, and neither did my friends. We were going out together, and I forget whose jet ski broke, but it got to the point where like, I think the situation was maybe he was dead in the water and I had a jet ski that didn't idle. So I kept trying to like go by him, grab the front of his jet ski while I operated mine with like one hand, knowing that if anything went wrong and I like fell off my ski, it would stall and not restart. Oh, that's what it was. It wouldn't restart. And they stall automatically, like, so you can catch it again. Well, that happened. So now I have a jet ski that only starts if you pop the engine, pull the plugs, put gas in the cylinders, reassemble it, and try to start it, which I can't do with water. So now we're both getting sucked out to sea at like 5 a.m. before school. And we don't have any like rescue plan or anything until a fisherman saw us and towed our 2 skis back to the sand, and we just managed there.
Thank God for that fisherman.
Yeah, I don't know what happens if we don't get picked up by a random fisherman at 5 a.m. before school on a weekday.
Well, I think briefly on
the news. Boys! Yeah. Somehow it was like, well, I better get my shoes off. So I kicked my shoes off, and my friend did it too. And then he was mad at me for the longest time because he's like, that didn't help us at all. And now I don't have any shoes. Like, you're right.
Why are you
can't swim with shoes on? Well, they sunk.
Why don't you take them off, tie them together, and like
that would have been a great plan.
I think there was a lot of critical thinking on this trip.
Yeah, there's a lot of panicking.
I'm like 15. I don't have any brains at this point, and I'm just getting sucked out to sea. And thankfully, I got rescued.
Kyle, you did ATVs a lot as a kid. Because I remember my grandparents, because we'd do it on their farm, my grandma in particular would always tell me like horror stories of supposed kids in the area, where she'd be like, now, Taylor, we're trusting you to be safe here. The Johnson boy, you don't know him, but he was just riding around on this. He flipped it upside and he smashed his head on the concrete, wasn't wearing a helmet. Now he's got problems. And that is not something I want to happen to you. And I remember in my head, like going out into the pastures and being like, I don't need a helmet. Like just like taking it off,
Taylor.
Just almost.
In fairness, like, you might not, Taylor.
No, I might not. And like quickly, I went back to like I should just wear a helmet, because my grandpa also got me he got us like the motocross style helmets with like that front thing. And when you're wearing those, it's not like, oh, this is a gay ass helmet. You're like, I'm a real racer. I'm a real racist out here. like really, like really killing it. Did you get horror stories about ATVs from your parents?
Absolutely not. We didn't own any helmets. I didn't. The idea of wearing a helmet on an ATV, I'm gonna tell you, I think of that as some lame shit. Like,
Still,
oh my god, you could not force me to put a fucking helmet on a four wheeler. What are we going? How fast do you think? First of
Modern
all,
Taylor, there's no way I would.
I've had some serious accidents on ATVs.
8, 9 years old. Yeah.
When I couldn't have been older than 7, or maybe tops 8, and I had a 3-wheeler, probably like a 125cc, 150cc, something like that, fairly big. And I didn't know it. We'd only recently moved to that property, but my dad had stretched out a line of electrical wire, like an electric fence for the cattle. It's not a full-blown fence yet. It's a very temporary measure, one single strand at about my throat height if I'm sitting on a 3-wheeler, and I hit that bitch going fast, and it pulled me off that ATV like a cartoon character. Like, it caught my throat, the ATV kept going, I got like stretched and like rotated and dumped on the ground, and that was when I was like 7. We never bought a helmet after that.
Helmet wouldn't have prevented that.
No, it wouldn't have helped either.
And
I
you
was
didn't
fine.
have a helmet on, right?
Absolutely not. We didn't own helmets. Still don't. And it's lame. And one time though, I owned
so many helmets. I don't even know how. 9.
I got
13?
my motorcycle helmet. You know, like,
I was right. Never wear helmets.
I've got a pretty nice motorcycle. Anyway, everybody does. But I flipped that thing on our asphalt driveway one day. I flipped it almost over, like it's tip, and I bailed off and just rolled down the asphalt going about 25 to 30-ish miles per hour, basically naked. I had my boxer shorts on and a t-shirt. It's a weird thing. I was going on a date that night. I'm like 15, and I was whitening my teeth. So I had the grill in. I had that teeth. Yeah.
Some Patrick Bateman shit.
Get off me. I was trying to get some titties. God damn it. So
Child's right.
Jesus.
Child's right.
And but anyway, a wasp landed like on my like thigh area, and I'm in these fucking boxers, so I like pull the controls and tip that thing, fall on the asphalt. I hit my left knee and my right elbow so hard that it like the nerve was like jarred and they were paralyzed. But that didn't matter because I was having a seizure. I don't know if the seizure happened immediately on impact or after I'd been lying there unconscious for who goddamn could know. Who would know? My mom's inside taking a nap. Dad's not home. I'm unconscious in the driveway having a seizure. And I remember thinking, I wish I could control myself because I'm grinding my face into the asphalt and I'm afraid it's cutting me. Like, I can't tell if it is or not because I'm grinding my face into the sandy asphalt. That wasn't the problem though, because I'd already taken like most of where my mustache doesn't grow off, like a bunch off my head over on this side, that when I like get like hot and sweaty, it's still like pigments different because all the skin's been gone. Like all the skin on my knee and my elbow, and I can't walk. I can barely crawl. And the ATV's like way down there crashed into the woods because it kept going. It never flipped fully. It went into the woods. So I got to like crawl home and shit with my looking like a cartoon character. And
you're the Johnsons that Taylor's grandma warned about.
That was me. That was me. And I wake my mother from like an afternoon nap, and I'm like, Mama, I'm sorry. Mama, I'm sorry. Mama, I'm sorry. And she's like, what the hell? What's on your face? What are you doing? Why are you waking me up? Oh my God. Because I'm all bloody and shit. It's like, like I said, I took a bunch of the skin off my head. And I had to go to the ER.
Did your date think it was tough?
I didn't make it to the date. Didn't make it. I was, crippled.
Yeah. No reschedule date.
Your teeth look fantastic.
If anything, it made dating real hard for a while because I had to go to school with Neosporin on my head. I'm like the sticky guy now. It's like lint is sticking to me by third period, like it's bad. Like
kids, man, Kyle used to be so cool.
Because you got to keep like a smear of Neosporin on the side of your head so you don't grow some big ass scab up there. But yeah, never had a fucking helmet. Never fucking needed one. That shit's lame. We had dad's pastures like made in these terraces that in the old day were cut into the ground to prevent a big flood from washing everything away, the erosion. And so those, if you ride them backwards, are like ramp after ramp after ramp. And I'd hit them as fast as that 350 would go. I mean, I don't know how fast. 40.
Is this a quad or a trike?
Quad, always a quad. Well, it was a trike when I was a kid, but I immediately got a 300 automatic Kawasaki and then a 350 manual.
Would you still have no helmet for like woods riding and stuff?
Woods riding, I would put a helmet on. But
I think you would.
I
go woods riding on a dirt bike. 100% of the people out there have a helmet.
Yeah, 100%. Like someone probably forced me to wear a helmet out there. What I'm talking about, just to be clear, is like the property that I grew up on that I know every inch of, and it's like I don't need a helmet out here. I never fell off other than that.
What if it was a dirt bike? I'm curious.
It sounds like a helmet would have helped with the sticky head thing.
Oh, and then there was one time where I didn't know it, but there's like a severe ditch in the field that I hit at full speed, and the front end just went down and came to an immediate stop, and it throws me forward. And the handlebars twist all the way to the right, and the peg hits me in the crotch, like in my pubic hair area, and it made a knot there. You know how like sometimes you get a bruise so bad it just becomes a knot.
Hematoma.
I had like a hard knot that you could rub and like feel for 9 months or something. And I cleared the bike. Like it hit me, and then I went tumbling like over and like upside down. But there's so much. The reason I didn't see the thing I hit was because the grass was so tall and thick. So I kind of had a soft landing. It was like a floof and like get up and like, what the fuck was that kind of thing. But yeah, we never had helmets, man. Like there wasn't a lot of safety. I mean, I do too. I've got a good one. I told you I was riding my bike and realized I didn't have it buckled and was like immediately scared. I was like, we got to get this bitch pulled over.
I go to my yard and practice wheelies sometimes. I'm still not as good as I want to be. And I wear a helmet for that. Just in my own yard, it's mostly flat. It's no big deal. But I feel almost naked on a bike without a helmet. I don't drive without a seatbelt. It just feels like it's missing. It's supposed to be there.
I've ridden my bike around in the cul-de-sac with no helmet, but like to say ride, I just mean like do a couple loops to show somebody what's going on and then pull it back in. And it's real fun to go. I'm sure you've done everything, but to me, going up a steep driveway is really fun. Just I don't know. I like feeling the amount of power it has when it pulls up something steep is kind of uniquely interesting.
Yes,
it's a fucking rocket ship. I still have so much respect for it. I've gone fast at this point, but like I'm like I may sell it this year. I think I'm done.
I almost put that in my 2024 predictions. I thought it, and then I was like, I'm not sure Kyle would take that well.
No, I don't. I've put maybe 1,800 miles on it or something like that. I think I'm about done. I saw a statistic graphic the other day, really a meme. So who even knows if it's accurate? But it was multiple activities, several of them that you do, Sam, and it was how many thousand hours of that equaled statistically a death. By like what percentage of participants. And it was like, man, that motorcycle thing, it seems like you put 1,000 hours in, you got like it was 1 to 3%, I can't remember, it was in that range of death. I was like, damn, I'm getting there.
Have you had any close calls? Like, did you ever feel like you cheated or cheated big injury or something?
No, I'm just so like when I ride, where I ride is sort of putting me in a safe position all the time already. I've taken some curves where I was scared, but the bike like always has more bite to it. It just always has more. I bet if I tried to take a turn incorrectly and like lean it too far over and like make a spin, the first time I'd fail at it and I'd be like, wow, it's still stuck. It's hard to tip that thing over as long as you're, keeping some torque.
Chris, do you have any near-death experiences or harrowing injuries?
No, I don't do shit, so that kind of makes it a lot easier to not die. But I have been thinking about for the last few years getting a bike eventually. Every spring I'm like, maybe I get one, and then I pay my taxes and I'm like, maybe next year. And then but I thought about it, like the one I was looking at, I don't know much about bikes, but the one of the Honda Rebels are like the ones because I feel like I've always heard those are better for like shorter guys, which I am.
The seat height's really low on that style of bike.
Yeah, so I've always thought about that, but I ended up.
That's the bike.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research. The Honda Rebel. The only reason I get the Rebel is because it is so low. I'm 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there, and certainly with my motorcycle boots on, I'm getting closer to 6'3". It's too low, but I like that bike. I like how that bike looks.
That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
that's like a $7,000 bike. Get the 8. Obviously, you're just kind of joking around about buying one, but if you ever did one, get anti-lock brakes.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Oh yeah.
The ABS.
That was one thing
like,
I stressed to Kyle.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was looking at, but I kind of stopped myself. I ended up getting just a different car this last year instead, but I was looking at like the 500 ABS. That was kind of like what I was thinking of. But maybe this spring.
I was going to get for a long time.
That would be a smart one to get.
Yeah, get one. Treat yourself.
Well, they're all stupid, but amongst the bad decisions you could make, the Rebel would be a good one.
They hold their value well. They're way more affordable than you'd ever think. All that horsepower, fun, and beauty can come at. Like for $10,000, you get a goddamn masterpiece of machinery that weighs 500 pounds, and it's beautiful just to fucking look at. There's been several times where I wanted to put it inside my house, but that nobody ever thinks that's a good idea.
Well, like what you were saying with like knowing like where to drive it, like I'm not like there's areas in my city and like where I'm like I'm not going to drive it there. I don't want to be on a bike on that road. But like there's areas where you're like, okay, it's not going to be like I'm not going to be dealing with like crazy traffic or like insane roads. Like there's certain areas where I'm like, all right, I'll just kind of ride it around there or like around here or there. Like you kind of know the better spots to be in.
I like to cruise around
by steel.
Country roads like during the week when everybody's at work, like 10 or 11 a.m. when it's still nice and chilly, preferably, and just cruise around and putt around and just I like to get lost and not use GPS until I'm good and lost. And or the thing that stops me every time is my hand will get sore, my like lower back will start hurting. I hurt my lower back on a swimming pool when I was like 12 and nobody believed me, and like it still hurt, Dad.
Why wouldn't you?
Like I wasn't kidding. Well, like I was like, yeah, my back.
Did you have a history of fibbing about lumbar issues?
well, like what are they gonna do? Like I don't know. Like I tried to do that thing. I think I'd seen it in a movie where like you jump and then you sort of bend backwards a little, like sort of flex your body back the way it doesn't want to go a little, and then go into a dive or a flip or something. And when I did it, I must have done it with some vigor because my lower back made an audible crunch. And like from then on, if I sit in a certain position, it's usually, I remember bleachers in high school would be so excruciating for me and nobody would listen. You couldn't tell like, coach, my back hurts if I sit like this for too long. Okay, yeah, 15 more minutes, Myers. All right. Lowest whistle. And it's like, but sitting in those bleachers with my knees above like my butt, like sort of in that sort of like my hip. Yeah. It's like, I'm sitting there shifting my weight back and forth. My lower back's just like hurting real fucking bad. It doesn't really hurt anymore unless I'm bent over that motorcycle leaning and grinding in corners for about 45 minutes. And then it's so that whole idea of riding to Colorado was out. I'm gonna need to get on the back of your Gold Wing so I can really kick my legs up. I gotta get
a heated seat for you, bro.
Oh, I'm gonna be close enough. I don't need that.
No, I have a backrest. You can't get that close.
I'm gonna koala bear you. I've never had anyone on it or been on with anyone. At least I don't remember. I would never do that. I'm taking my own life into my hands every time. I don't want to put somebody else on there and I don't feel competent to do it either. Like I know that I'm a so-so rider, but I'm okay with that. Like I'll sit on a motorcycle with a so-so rider, but you don't need to. Don't get on the back here. We might not come back.